Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of the SAFI webinar series. In this video, we are going to have an overview of the standard and non-standard sections. Let's start our demo. Sections can be created from the menu Tables. Then we click on Sections. We find the list of all the available type of sections in the software. It is also possible to use the Sections toolbar. To activate the section toolbar, we do a right-click on the mouse here, and we select Sections from this menu. We can see the section toolbar appears here. I'm going to move it here so we can see it more clearly. The different type of sections are organized on the section toolbar. We find standard sections, non-standard sections, wood sections, variable inertia sections, built-up sections, stud sections with continuous steel rod, the section library editor, and the section library manager. Then we find the truss bar sections, plates and shell sections, cable sections, joist sections, and wood panels. So to create a standard section, we can click on this button here, or we can use the menu Tables, Section, and we select Standard Sections. This command is exactly the same command on the section toolbar. To create a section, we need to specify a section ID and we assign a material. If the material is available from this list, we can simply select it. If it's not available, the user can create the material by clicking on this button. So, the user can create a material. For example, I will select this grade of steel and I click OK. In the list of materials, we can find the material that we just added to the database available here. After selecting the material, the user needs to specify a library. The user can select a standard library from this list. We find the Canadian, American, European, Indian, and the Russian library for steel sections. We also have other types of libraries. If the user created a custom library, it will be available in this list as well. After selecting the library, the user needs to specify the section type. On this menu, we find the different type of section types including W sections, channels, C sections, HSS sections, square and circular, and we also find angles, equal angles, double angles, star sections, etc. Then after selecting the type of section, the last step is to select the section name. We simply select a section name, then we click Add. Now the section is added to the database, and we can continue adding more sections to the model. All the sections that we added to the database will be available here. Then we click Close. From this dialog box, the user can add a new section. We can delete an existing section. We can also edit sections in the numerical table. Standard sections does not allow the user to change the name, so we can't change the name or the dimensions of the section. The only parameters that the user can change are the properties. For example, if you want to reduce the cross-section area, we can write the new value in the column override, and the new custom value will be used by the software instead of the original value. If we want to set the original value, we just select the cell and copy it, then paste it here. If we want to set the original value, we just select the cell and copy it, then paste it here. On the left-hand side of this dialog box, we find the dimensions here. We also find an image that shows the dimensions of the different components of the section. For example, the width of the flanges, the height of the web and thickness, and so on. There are two available preview modes. When we click on this button here, we can see another image that contains the definition of all the variables that are available here. There are extra additional properties that the user can display by clicking on the button Additional Properties. When we click on this button, we can see the properties on the principal axes and on the straight axes. To validate, we click on OK. To create a non-standard section, it's a similar process to creating standard sections. We click on the button Non-Standard Sections on the Sections toolbar, or we use the menu Tables, Sections, and then Non-Standard Sections. For non-standard sections, the user needs to specify a name. For example, let's say a W100 by 80 times 7. We then select the material. Then we select the section type. The software provides an extensive list of section types. We have circular, square, rectangular, hollow circular sections, hollow rectangular sections, I-shaped doubly symmetric, I-shaped singly symmetric, I-shaped tapered flanges. We also have channels, channels with tapered flanges, angles, angles with tapered flanges, T-shape, T-shaped tapered flanges, double angles head to head, double angle star, and finally we also have a series of cold form sections including angles, channels, hat, and Z sections. In this case, we want to create an I-shaped section, so we select the section type I-shaped doubly symmetric, and for each section type, a few dimensions are required to be specified. For example, here the variable B, which is the flange width, we will put 80. The total height, 100. The thickness is 7. And the thickness of the web, which is 7 again. And finally, we have the fillet radius, which we will put 10 millimeters. Then we click Add. When I click on Close, we can see the properties of the sections. On the left, we find the dimensions of the sections. For non-standard sections, the user can modify the dimensions from the dialog box. For example, if I want to change the width to 90 millimeters, I can edit it from here. When we edit the dimensions, the software doesn't update the properties automatically, so the user needs to click on this button, Recalculate Properties. When we click on this button, the software will recalculate the new properties of this section. I'm going to fix the name of this section. Similar to standard sections, we find the properties on this table. We can override them by specifying the custom value in the column Override, and we can also display additional properties by clicking on this button, where we can see the properties on the principal axes and the straight axes as well. When we are done, we click on OK to validate. After creating a section, to assign it to a member, we need to edit the attributes of the member. We can do it by double-clicking on the member. From the General tab, we can assign the section by selecting one section from this list. So, all the sections that we added to the database are available here. If the section is not available in the database, we can add new sections to the database by clicking on the arrow button, then selecting a type of section. For example, non-standard sections. Then, the non-standard sections dialog box will open and we can add our sections like we did before. When the section is assigned to a member, the profile of the section is located at a distance of 40% from the first joint. If we display the internal axes of the member, the origin of the internal axes of the member corresponds to the joint I, and the second joint will be the joint J. By default, the section profile is displayed at 40% distance from the joint I. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching and catch you in another one of our webinar series videos.